And now, coming to you live from the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California, it's the Sheena Metal Experience with your host, Sheena Metal, only on KGRA Digital Broadcasting.
Hi, and welcome to the Sheena Metal Experience on KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. I'm your host, Sheena Metal. I'm a psychic medium. I'm an interfaith minister. I'm a 29-year talk radio host in Los Angeles and beyond. I'm a paranormal survivor and a creative and performing artist. And I come to you live from my home in Southern California every Friday at 3 o'clock Pacific time. And this show is about spirituality. It's about creativity. It's about humanity. It's about passion. It's about service. It's about becoming and then maintaining being your best you in this big, beautiful world, and then inspiring others to do the same. And every week on the show, it may be my show, but it's always, without a doubt, your experience. And my guest today is a wonderfully talented psychic medium, paranormal investigator. He is the part of Psychics Unite that his wife founded, and to help other people who are psychic to bring us all together instead of us tearing each other apart. He's also a talented media host in his own right. Please welcome to the show, the wonderful Scotty Rorek is here. How are you, my friend?
I am wonderful, wonderful.
So
happy to be here again. I love spending time with you.
I know, and I love being here with you too. And you were supposed to do this months ago, and then I got the killer bug, and I lost my voice for like 3 weeks. So
yeah, but then the worst thing happened was I ended up having 2 strokes.
Oh, since then?
Since then, yes.
Oh wow, are you feeling okay? You doing all right?
I'm doing much better. So tomorrow I go to the doctor again. I think they're going to finally release me and put me into full-time back at work. So everything has been healing right. So I had my first one that was really bad. The second one was kind of a minor one, but it put me back in the healing process. And now I'm good. So now I'm back, and haven't done much reading since then, but I still do my classes. I do teaching. I do, psychics, that type of stuff. But yeah, I just haven't done the readings because I wasn't too 100% sure of my gifts. I mean, I know I just listen and they tell me anyway. But it's when you get this stroke stuff and you have it, it's like, I'm just like, okay, am I pushing this or what am I doing? So that was the one thing that I haven't done. But I'm getting to the point where I'm leading a ghost hunt this Saturday night at the zoo where I work at, and we're going to start back into it. Let's go.
Good for you. Good for you. I feel the same way. Interestingly enough, sometime after I was sick in June, I wound up not feeling good. And then in August, I had a giant flare up of acute gastritis, right? And it's interesting what you were saying earlier. Everybody, psychic people, depending on where you take your messages is, you get hit, right? Some have migraines, some have strokes. For me, it's always been solar plexus chakra. So for me, it's all gastrointestinal stuff. So I wound up with this acute gastritis, and yes, I completely changed the way I ate, and I stopped eating for a couple of weeks till it healed, and I'm still careful about what I eat. I've lost a bunch of weight. I'm doing a lot better, but I also believe that part of it was the fact that I was taking in too much energetically from working with clients, and I wasn't filtering enough out. Correct. And so I've made a hard decision for me, really hard for me. But I've had to weed out some people that were too toxic, that I just think were damaging me. And I hate to ever say no to anybody or turn anybody away. I give everybody a million chances and say, we kind of need to take down the toxicity. And I don't mean people with a lot of problems, because obviously people that come to us are people that have problems. And I understand that.
I understand what you're saying.
Sort of push their toxicity onto you, right? Why can't you just take my pain for me? It's like, well, for empathic people, we do. And then something explodes.
You're right. I mean, I agree 100%. I mean, I've lost almost 56 pounds since the last time we talked. I'm down to the lowest weight I've been in since grade school, I think, because I'm down to, I used to weigh 325 and now I'm 175.
Wow.
So I'm feeling great. I'm starting to get my energy back. I'm starting to get me back. But I had to realize that it's about me, even in all this, because a lot of times we put everybody first and then we forget about ourselves.
Yes.
And as people that do the work and that are out here, we have to have that mix. We have to know the time when we have to say, okay, enough's enough. I have to take a nap. I have to,
Yes.
I just need time.
Yeah.
That was the nice thing about, I guess, if there's a nice thing about a stroke, was I got to come home from work and take naps every day. So that was kind of
So just so everybody who's watching, if you've had a stroke, you have
take a nap.
to take a nap every day. It's spiritually ordained that you have your nap time.
It works great.
I think like my cat knows what he's doing, because he works at full performance and then he sleeps. And then he comes back and he works at full performance and then he sleeps. And sometimes I think they have the right idea.
I do too. I think it's something that we have to learn. I mean, something we have to do is yes, I want to help everybody in the world, and yes, we're here to help. But it's also about, how about helping Scotty? How about Scotty helping Scotty? And Scotty didn't do that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't done that much in many years, and so it's a lot of like, okay, now it's time for me too, because it kind of, you kind of look at it, and I'm not afraid to pass. So if the next one comes, and you and I lost a very dear friend, Scott Grunwald.
Yes.
And he was helping me during my strokes, because he had strokes too, and he was helping me through this, and then he passed.
Yeah.
But but we have to get back to look at, there's a time where our time is not forever, even though we want to. This life is forever. We will always have the next life and stuff, but this one we're in right now is not forever. It's fleeting. So make sure you get done what you want to do. Make sure, like I've been trying to tell people how much I love them and all my friends. That, by the way, Sheena, I love you.
I love you too, sweetheart. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. But I mean, and I've not said that to a lot of people. So I've called a lot of people like Rob Demarest, and a lot of people that I've never said. And Keith Age, and I call them and I said, dudes, I love you. And they're like, what? I said, yeah, I love you. And thank you for everything you've done for me. And so that's what it is. It's about me giving back to them for all the people that's helped me through all my journeys here too.
Absolutely.
Which I haven't said as much, and I should. And going forward, I'm saying it every day.
I love that. Well, I'll say something that I wasn't going to say, but now I will, Scotty. I love you too. I love you. So you know that. We met through Keith, who I love, Keith Age, my hometown boy. I don't know if you know this, but my mom was born in Louisville. So Keith
nice.
helped me really find out where I come from, and that's wonderful. But today's slot that you took this day, the 20th of October, this was supposed to be Scott was supposed to do the show today.
Wow. I'm very honored that I'm here for him. I'm very honored that I'm here for him, because he was one of my dearest friends, and
he was the best.
He was so funny. I used to do that thing at the events. Remember, I used to do Paranormal Match Game, which I still do. But he was probably the funniest guest I ever had. I mean, in one episode, he burnt his chest hair on stage. He came in almost naked to one of the shows. So Scotty was just amazing. He was the one that ghost hunted naked. I mean, he did it on TV.
Yeah. Yeah. He had the best personality and the best outlook for everything.
Right.
And I know that he guides all of us now from where he is, because I know he's as happy there as he was here. And
he told me something personal, and I'll say it on the air since we're talking about him. He told me after he passed, he goes, dude, it's not your time. I said, well, thanks for telling me. He goes, because I said, I thought it was. I told him, we were talking personally, but then, when he passed, he came right back to me right away and said, dude, not your time. He said, so get what you want to get done. I said, okay. I said, I will.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. I'm so glad you're doing better. And I'm so sorry that we missed a harrowing summer with each other, but maybe we'll stay in better touch, so we'll know if these things happen to each other moving forward.
Right. And it was tough, and I didn't post it on Facebook because I didn't need that. I'm not looking for that type of celebrityness just because you're the sick one and everybody's out there. That's not what it is. I just needed time for myself to heal, time for me and my family and each other, and so that's what it was about. And so I'm sorry that I didn't say to many people. I didn't tell them I was sick or had strokes until after, because now I'm doing better. So you know what I mean.
I do.
And it was great because I didn't get any of the face stuff. I didn't get any of the speech stuff. I mean, it was, but it's still my whole right side. I went numb. I couldn't even walk to the bathroom that morning when it happened. So I had to have my wife come home from her job and race me to the hospital. So.
Oh, honey, I'm so sorry, but I'm so glad it happened for a reason, right? And now you're healthier.
Right. Oh, I'm much healthier. I mean, almost 50, almost 60 pounds lighter. And my blood pressure is down. My blood sugars are normal. I even had a Twinkie the other day, and I look at my blood sugar, it was still 110. I'm like, what? That's never happened before. So everything's better. I mean, everything I'm doing is better, and I should have been doing this my whole life, but I never thought it would happen to me. And now that it happens to you, then you go, damn it. You always think you're it's not going to happen to you, and then it does, and then you go, okay, time to change.
Yeah. Well, human beings are funny, and I fall into this category. Sometimes I don't make change until I have to. I mean, many things in my life I change, but with my health, it seems like I have to kind of get wrapped over the head with knuckles before I'm like, oh, and then I'm so freaked out that I totally change.
Right.
But I've kind of made a commitment to myself to try to figure out what works and what doesn't work. Like last night I had this little bit of salad and my stomach got really weird. And I'm like, okay, we're not ready for lettuce. And then I just don't do it. In the past, I would have pushed it. Is it going to get better? Now I'm like, no, my body's trying to tell me what foods it will take right now and what foods it won't. And then of course I quit sugar across the board because I just feel like sugar's my devil. It's not everyone's devil.
And I just told you I had a Twinkie, but it was
good for you.
That's kind of my celebration.
I enjoyed it for you.
Thank you.
Every night I go to my best friend's and she makes desserts and I enjoy everyone eating them and I enjoy the smell of them.
Yes.
But I don't need to do it anymore.
But I went so many years with my blood sugar so high that I couldn't even, and I smelt sugar and I would go way up, and now I'm down. My doctor said to me, she goes, I've never seen you at this weight. I said, I know. I said, my wife has never seen me at this weight. I mean, when we got married, I was 225.
Wow.
So, I mean, so my wife has never saw me. My doctor says, I've never seen your blood pressure, blood sugar, but all this, I've never seen it because you've never been this good before.
Yeah.
So she goes, congratulations. But my goal now is to continue and focusing on daily this stuff because I can't go back. I won't.
Good.
Can't.
Yeah. And I love that you have so much energy now to do new things and you started a new paranormal group. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Is that have you had a paranormal society before? Is this the first one you founded?
No, the psychic group we've been with that almost 9 years now. So, but this is my first paranormal group. It's called Mad City Ghostbusters. We based it off my Ecto. So if anyone out there is watching, Ecto 22 has its own Facebook page. You can go out and see my car. So I have an Ecto mobile just like everyone else, and we have the full uniforms and we even have patches that match, and it's kind of cool. But the nice thing about that is we go out and help people. Like last year, I had a person that was like 34 years old, and he had a brain, he had brain injury, and he couldn't remember very well. But one thing he did always remember was Ghostbusters.
Nice.
And so I decided, they called me up and we spent the day together and I made him a Ghostbuster for the day. We walked around with our packs in town and we threw the sirens on in the car. We went out to eat together. And so we had a great day together. And, so it was just like, that's what we want to do. And we want to help other people is we want to help them if they need Ghostbusters or make a wish or, so like this Halloween, we're going to a house to help them with trick or treating as Ghostbusters. So, so it's fun. People love it. But the great thing about it is the car's really given me my business card for my psychic work. and my mediumship work, so it's
Yeah.
really allows me to talk to a lot of people, because I go to a gas station, I take 20 minutes to get out because everybody wants to talk to me,
Yeah.
and I guess that's the real reason why we wanted to do it is because people don't want to talk to you about their gifts. They don't want to talk to you about their experiences because they're afraid people are going to make fun of them.
Yeah.
They're going to diss them, do all kinds of crap to them. But with somebody with a car like that, they're going to come right out to us and start talking with us and telling us their stories. And that's what kind of ties in with Psychics Unite too. We always want a place for everybody to go, and that has, like minds, place you can go tell your stories. We've helped so many people. I mean, I remember one of our first meetings ever. We helped a lady who was in her 70s, and she never told anyone her whole life that she had gifts. But she came out in a meeting and started crying because she finally could do it in a place that, was comfortable for her to do it. So it kind of works in both, the ghost busting thing kind of is the fun reason for it. And, and as for me, that's, I met Ernie Hudson and I met Dan Aykroyd, and I've done a show with Ernie, and it was so funny there. He actually, because everybody goes up to him to talk to him about ghost stories, and he goes, "Guys, I'm an actor. This is not what I do." and he turns to me, because we were talking beforehand, because I invited him out ghost hunting with us. He goes, "No." He turns over and he goes, "He's the Ghostbuster." And I started crying. We're like, "Oh my God, Ernie Hudson called me a Ghostbuster."
Oh.
I was so happy. But I thank Dan Aykroyd, because Dan's grandfather was a psychic medium.
I did not know that.
Yep. And Dan's family, and Dan's grandfather and grandma and mom and dad were all spiritualists,
Wow.
from Lilydale.
I did not know that. Isn't that
Yep.
cool? He always was cool? My favorite. So now I know why.
And now you know why. And he always believed, he still believes in that, but that's where Ghostbusters came from, his belief in the spiritual and the paranormal side to all this. And that's why he went on, and that's why he created Ghostbusters.
So beautiful. I love that. Yeah.
And I thank both of them. I said, I thank you guys for helping me, because I don't even think you and I would be here today without Ghostbusters, really, because it's really made it commonplace.
It stands up when you watch it. It stands up. So Ernie Hudson was at my prom. Here's a funny story. So I grew up an hour south of LA in Huntington Beach, California, Surf City, USA. And we had our prom at the Disneyland Hotel. And I don't know how this happened. 1985, Scotty. Our prom band was the Bus Boys.
Oh my God, I love the Bus Boys. Oh my God.
So now, anyway, so Ernie was there at the prom and performed on stage with them. Everybody was excited. 20 years later, 10 years later, I started booking music. And the first club I ever booked, I had this band named Black Bart that used to play for me. And one day I said to the singer, "Why is your voice familiar?" And he said, "Oh, I'm the singer from the Bus Boys." So then we became friends. And now Brian O'Neill is one of my very good friends. I love him, and I love the Bus Boys.
You have to introduce me.
I would love that. He's done my show a gazillion times.
I love him. Oh my God.
And what a great thing that was for them. And what a fantastic band they are. And how lucky am I that they were our prom band? We always look around at each other and say, like, how did we luck out that this was our prom? Because they were on the charts with the song from Ghostbusters at the time.
They sure were. And it's funny because that's my son's ringtone is the Bus Boys.
Oh, that's so cool. I will definitely
introduce coming to town.
Brian is the nicest man you've ever met in your life, and extremely spiritual. That Gemini, nice. Extremely spiritual. As a matter of fact, we had dinner one night for my birthday at his house, and I was, still full bore entertainment, and my gifts were very much a thing my mother had, and mine were stuffed in the closet. And I had just started performing, doing my radio shows live from the Hollywood Improv. And he had come to one of those. And he said to me, "I'm going to tell you something. It's going to sound really out there. But you have gifts. Like all the stuff that you do as a performer, there is something underneath that fuels all of that. And you're going to wind up flipping. And that thing is going to wind up becoming your thing. And you're going to realize that that's what you need to be doing with your life." And I'm thinking, what is he talking about? Why is he saying this? Do that. And then I did. And I'm like, you, Brian O'Neill, you got gifts. because
It
he
does.
saw that inside of me. And I always say now when I interview people that knew me before I came out as a psychic, that I now wear my underwear on the outside. This is always who I was. Now you just see it.
Right.
But man, he was right. Over that next couple of years, that was 2015.
Mhm.
And by
That was about the time we met.
Right. That was 2013 Mid-South Paranormal, right? You came and brought
That's
the car.
what we did. Yep.
By the time 2016, 17 rolled around, I was opening my practice.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it all started with my movement, raisingthevibration.org, that I founded after my mom died. So 2016. So the next year, I was already making that change. So yeah, he's a magical guy. You're going to love him.
Good. I come on and we can do spiritual stuff with him. So.
Oh, I would love that. I would totally
That'd be
love
so
that.
cool.
Now, are you still doing media? Are you still doing your radio show?
I am not. I am between years. I took a year off and I'm glad I did because I wouldn't have made it through this whole last summer.
Right.
So, but no, I'm planning to get back. It was funny. I don't know if everybody knows, but one of my dear friends, and trust me, I'm having a Biden moment with his name. I always go, come on, man. So if I say that during the show, I've lost my train of thought.
Sure.
Come on, man. Anyway, Rob Demarest, he calls me up the other day. And so everybody that's listening, if you don't know Rob was one of the first ones on Ghost Hunters International. He was the lead investigator and ran all the teams.
Yes.
And so that's where I met all the guys. I mean, Scott Tepperman and my best friend in the whole world, Paul Bradford, all those guys. So, I mean, that's where I knew that team very well. Anyway, he calls me up the other day and he goes, okay, Scotty, time to go get back on the radio. I said, okay. So we're trying to figure out how to get back. So, yeah.
Good. I love that story.
It's about time to come back. So
is Paul's the British gentleman, right?
Yes. And it was funny because he was on my radio show. He was on my radio show first as my tech guy.
Oh.
He would come on every week and do a tech segment. And then he was like, oh, should I try out for Ghost Hunters? I said, yeah, go for it. I'll put in a word. And he got on. He got cast. And
wow.
And then he got a citizenship. And he's one of the greatest.
He moved here. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, he lives in Cincinnati now. So, right out there. Yeah.
It's always like old home week when we get together. You know who I have had on this show and many of my radio shows and who I love a lot is Barry Fitzgerald.
Oh yeah, Barry's wonderful.
My dear friend.
And see, Barry took over for Rob.
Yes.
Yeah, because Rob started Ghost Hunters International, and then they changed host or lead investigators.
Right.
And then Barry took over after Rob left. Yeah.
I always say that someday Barry's going to invent the thing that we can all just look at and go, oh, there's all the spirits. We wondered why we couldn't see them all, and now we can.
Right.
But now he's all fallen into like all this Irish folklore and researching all this stuff from legend, and I'm like, oh,
that's good though. That's you go down that road. Like Ben Hansen's done that. Ben Hansen's way more into UFOs now than he was ghosts, anymore, and so everybody, you kind of get into. Okay, I'm not gonna. This might sound bad, but we have to do something else sometimes. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. No, and I think it's.
I don't want to be bad about it because I love the spiritual. I love what I do, but there's other times and other things you want to talk about.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I always change.
Yeah,
that's why I changed my radio show. And my last incarnation of my radio show was Scotty Talks About.
Oh, nice.
And that's all I did. I just came on the air and we would talk.
Right.
If we went down anything, if we went down McDonald's hamburgers today, that's what we would talk about. It didn't matter what we talked about. I just had a guest on and we would talk.
Yeah.
I guess that's where I want to go back to. If I'm going to go back, I'm going to go back to something like that because
I think that's what I do with all my shows, whether they're genre or not.
Right.
That's what this show, right? Spirituality meets creativity, which means no matter where in my life you come from, you belong here, and we'll talk about everything.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. That's what it's got to be about. And the other great thing about your show, and that's why I love doing your shows, is that we just talk.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't sit there and ask me questions the whole time, and you got like 10 questions written out, and then at the end of my 10th question, you go, I've been on shows where they've run out of questions and they just say, "Okay, Scott, you talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's your show, but I'll talk all the rest
Yeah.
of the night." But still,
Or I've done the ones where they power through the question and then they're like, "Okay, I guess we're done." And I'm like, "It's been 8 minutes." Like, really?
thanks for doing your research and your
Okay.
work before we got together.
Well, here's my thing from a spiritual perspective. And as I said, I've been in entertainment since I was 4 years old, but my spiritual life has always run the show. If I write down 10, 20 questions to ask you, and certainly I could because you could answer them all, Scotty, then I'm controlling where the show is going to go. And there could be some magic things that you want to bring up that aren't going to get brought up because they're not on my question list.
Right.
And
right.
I think
I agree.
when you let the control go, that's when the magic comes in. So that's why, and trust me, I've worked for radio stations that I got busted for not putting the questions together.
Right.
And when I did stand-up comedy, I was always getting in trouble for not having one routine that I did over and over again. I'm like, people don't want to hear me say the same thing every week. I want to just vibe off the audience and say whatever I'm thinking.
That's so funny you say that because I did improv, right?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I did improv for many years. I owned my own club for a while. I did theater sports out of Calgary, Canada was the group up there, and Comedy Sports it was in LA. I don't know if they're still out there, but we used to do improv comedy, just like Who's Line. And we used to do that all the time. Yeah, I owned my own club for a while. It was it was amazing. But that's why I always, because I got into it one time. We were at a club and we were opening for Louis Anderson, and Louis says, "Oh, I couldn't do what you would do," and now he's passed too, but. He says, "Oh, I could never do what you do." I said, I could never do what you do. He says, "Yeah, it's easy. Just write a couple jokes and say it over and over and over again."
Yes.
He says, "What you do is you take any situation and make it funny." And he goes, "That's what I have a hard time with." I said, "Well, but I bet you could do it all the time too." Yeah. So that's what it is. I mean, but that's what made a good radio host of both of us is the fact that we do improv. We just sit there and go with it. And wherever we're going, and we don't stop and go, "Okay, let's bring the show back." No, let it go. Let it have fun. Keep it off the tracks. Let's go.
Well, all the messages are going to come through. If there's something really important that you need to say in this hour, or I need to say in this hour, trust me, it's going to come out.
It'll come through, yeah.
If it doesn't, then it's for the next show.
Right.
Or it's not forever because it wasn't meant to be. I mean, I think if you live, one thing live radio did for me, which is so beautiful, is it taught me to live in the isness, right? Because when you're live, you don't have time to think about or fret or worry about the future or think about the past. For however many hours a day you're doing it, you're just in that moment.
Right.
And it's taught me how beautiful being in that moment and being in the present is. And that's why I think you take a journey together, right? You're here, I'm here. We're both tapping into everything, the everything.
Right.
And then Spirit's going to guide us where this hour is supposed to be and make it perfect. And anything that we think we need to talk about can go in the next one, or when I do your show, or when we're at a conference together, whatever the story is, if it needs to come out, it will come out.
Right.
But to get all super controlling of it, I think takes the magic away. It takes that property of the isness away, right?
It does. It really does. By the way, anytime you have anyone drop, call me.
I will. Yeah.
Seriously.
Absolutely.
I'll be on your road to dial.
I will, and don't think I won't take you up on that. I'm completely.
I hope you do. I wouldn't be offering if I didn't want to.
No, one more story about my prom. I just want to tell you.
Yeah, please. I love this.
When they sang the song from Ghostbusters and Ernie Hudson came out, it was like a group of high school students all dressed up in their tuxedos and ball gowns. Because in the 80s, we wore the big, my dress looked like Scarlett O'Hara wore it. Just rushed this stage. I mean, like nothing you've ever seen in your life. Like hundreds of teenagers rushed up to that stage because it was the Ghostbusters song.
Right. And
how amazing is that? And you're right. I interviewed once Brian with Ray Parker Jr. because they're friends.
Oh, okay.
And they tour together. And isn't it amazing that one little movies like that, like Poltergeist? I just interviewed Dr. Barry Taff on my radio show last week, and
he's amazing too.
Oh, he's fantastic. And the team in Poltergeist was based on his team from UCLA.
Right.
Man, that movie still holds up. You watch that movie and you're like, that could happen in somebody's house tomorrow. Maybe not the bodies popping out in the pool, but everything up till then when the paranormal team comes, you're
Right.
like, the research team, you're like, that's a thing.
Yeah. And that's, let me go back to Ghostbusters, but that, you're talking about how everybody loved it and they still
Yeah.
love it. And
Yeah.
it's still, and it just doesn't hold up because it's a good movie. It holds up because there's something about it that really is starting to make the world start seeing that spirit is always with us, and we all
Yes.
know it, and we've always had it, and our families have had it, our grandparents have told us, but we've all put it away because during the 50s and the 60s it was not the times. But that's when I come out, all of a sudden here I am in the 80s and I'm getting dates all the time because I'm the Ghostbuster. I can see ghosts, I can talk to ghosts.
Right.
And in the 70s I was going to be locked up in a home.
Right.
I mean, it's taken a long time. I mean, even today, I still get shit on the. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I still get crap on the internet from people that come after you, about you and your beliefs, and you just go,
Yes.
it's still happening today, but the amount of it is less. But then again, it's just keyboard warriors who wouldn't tell me in front of my face. They would only do it on the thing because they can hide behind their keyboard.
Yes.
Instead of being right here in front of me and telling me about my gifts and me. And then I would tell them stuff about their family and they would like be in shock. I've done that many times. I mean, I bet you have that too.
Oh yeah.
I had a psychiatrist that came for a reading, him and his sister. So they both came and they both scheduled 2 readings. And so he came in first, and within a few minutes I had him crying. And he was like, he goes, how do you know this? I mean, I was like, by the end, he was like, oh my God. He says, and then his sister came in to try to spook me again. First thing I said to her, I said, you're what's, I'll just say Mike, you're Mike's sister. And she goes, how do you know that? I said, because you got the same spirits here. So of course I know. So the same grandma, same grandpa. So you are the same family. So you're sisters. And after that, they totally believed. But you have to kind of put a couple people in their place like that once in a while, kind of just throw some facts at them.
Yes, I'm fascinated by people that come and then the whole time they want to tell you that everything is wrong.
Right.
And then you look back and you're like, but wait a minute. Then they'll say, oh, well, I'll say something like, your mom died tragically. No. And then 5 minutes later, it's, well, my mom died in a horrific car accident and she suffered. Well, and then I'll have to go back and very gently say, oh, that must have been what I was getting when Spirit said your mother died tragically. Like they don't, like I think there's this response to just say no. And sometimes people have to think about it and come back and realize, oh yeah, because we're conditioned still. And I think sometimes people feel guilty when they go to a psychic medium because we're conditioned that it's not real, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. That we don't even want to believe the stuff when it's in front of us.
Right. And here's another thing though, and I will give some people credit for this though, and you talked to that you don't remember right away. We call it psychic amnesia. It's because if I'm at a gallery reading doing, a whole thing, all of a sudden it'll be like 10 minutes later, they'll go, oh, then they remember, or the person that's with them goes, hey, that's your grandpa or that's your dad,
Yes.
Oh yeah. Now I remember. So they're just caught up in the moment that they don't really realize and kind of think back to that moment.
Yes.
Or they put it away so far that you have to kind of jar it out of them, So I do give some people that, and then some other people are there just to stump us.
Sure. Yes. And they're usually not.
They usually don't, but
yeah. Or they'll lie about something, or and then they just think, I don't know. That's I call that the dog and pony show. I'm like, if you want to play that game, go to a carnival and play it.
Right. Yeah.
I had to tell this client a couple of weeks ago. I mean, long-term client, right? I've seen her on a regular basis for many, many years. And she still does this thing where she'll say, well, what can you tell me about Friday? And I've played the game for years, but then, like I said, I went through some changes after I had my stomach exploded. And I finally said to her, when you tell me, what can you tell me about Friday? I could talk to you for 3 hours about Friday. It's really not a good use of your session time or your money to make me try to figure out every single thing you did Friday and which thing you're trying to ask me about. If you have a question, just ask it, because it's really a better use of your time.
So here's the other thing. Here's the other thing with that. And I agree 100%. But here's the other thing. Everything I could tell you about Friday, you can go now that you know it and do nothing.
Right.
And then all of a sudden Friday's different because you chose to have Friday different than doing what you would normally do.
Right. Which is why I won't give anybody death dates. And when is my elderly mother going to die? First of all, stop focusing on that.
Yeah. Why bring that up? Why work on that?
Stop putting energy into mommy's death.
Right.
And secondly, if I tell you when she's, first of all, I won't ask. And even if I ask, they're not going to tell me.
I don't get it either.
Like, not your business, not your business.
Right.
Why are you fixating on that? And if you knew, you would live differently because you knew.
Right.
And
right.
It's not for us to know, or when am I going to die? It's like, is that really what you're asking me? And my other favorite is, I just got together with a new guy. When is it going to end? What?
Hopefully never. So why are you bringing it to the universe? Why are you putting it out
to us?
Why
are we already thinking about the end? Are you not even enjoying the beginning?
Right.
So it's, I just think that we are, we're conditioned as earthbound creatures that we're supposed to be in control of everything.
We are. And that's exactly what I brought up when I talking about the stroke, was exactly that. It's the fact that I've realized that it doesn't matter what I do tomorrow. It doesn't matter what I do even in 10 minutes. It matters that I'm here with Sheena on her show, having a good time.
Yes.
That's what even matters, is that we're together. We're enjoying time together. We've been friends for all these years, and it's time to enjoy each other's company for a few moments.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. It's not even about what I'm doing next or what I'm having for dinner or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's not what it is. And we spend too much time of our lives worrying about the next thing instead of enjoying the thing that we're doing.
Yes, I completely agree. Yeah. And we're never enjoying the time with someone.
Correct.
We're just wondering when they're going to die because we fear loss so badly.
Right.
That we project the loss into everything, but when there isn't even any loss. My mama used to have this wonderful expression. She would always say, it hasn't happened yet. So as a young person, I had to have a lot of surgeries. And when I knew I had to have a surgery, I mean, your inclination is to start panicking, even though it's 2 months off. And she would always say, today is not the day you're having the surgery. Tomorrow's not the day you're having the surgery. So let's have a great today. Let's have a great tomorrow, because it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
And that taught me to, not even the day before a surgery, to enjoy it, because guess what? Today's not the day I'm having a surgery. So I can really enjoy my day today. And when it is the day I'm having the surgery, then that's the day. And then the next day, even though I may be a little miserable, the surgery's over and now you're on the road to recovery.
Right, right.
And you kind of have to think like that, or you spend all of your time panicking about the next thing that could happen. And could happen is the ideal term, because half the stuff we worry about never even happens.
Right. And it's not meant to be. And, and then unfortunately, the stuff that we give energy to all of a sudden will happen, and then it'll be nasty. And then we'll go, see, and that doesn't work that way. Just be happy about it. Be happy about your moments, and, be positive about it. Once we do that, then it works so much better.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Let's talk a little bit about Psychics Unite. Where did you guys get the idea? How did it start? Because it's so needed, because psychics sometimes, Scotty, are not nice to each other.
They're not. And that's, that was one of my caveats when we first were talking about it, was how are psychics going to get and mediums going to get together and work together? But then we realized that it's not about us. It's not about our practices, because all the people that are in our group here in Madison, I mean, I think we got like 10, 11 groups running right now. But everybody in our group has grown their business because of us, because everybody knows of everybody now. Everybody knows of everybody in the town. We starting, you start getting this knowledge of each other, and that's what's the important thing, just like we're talking about. But the idea came from my wife. I mean, she had this client, or this lady that she knew in Chicago, and she went down there and she saw on her desk, all these scenes with all these animals on it, and she goes, oh, she goes, do you like animals? She goes, no, but when I go to like the aquariums and stuff, all the animals come up to me. And so right there, my wife knew right away. She knew that, had some abilities, and so they started talking about it. But once again, she never had anybody to turn to. So now she saw me, never had anyone to turn to my whole life. She had this lady who never had, and then she's told us, then that lady told her that she had a near-death experience. And she saw herself on a table when she died, and then she realized that wasn't her time, so she came back, and then her gifts were even stronger ever since.
Yes.
But that's it. But we never had anybody to talk to,
right?
And that's how the idea came. And so Terry always thinks that, and she doesn't claim that it's her idea. She claims that the universe has this knowledge,
I agree.
and they put it into work.
I agree.
That so many people get the same thoughts. Somebody has to push it forward, and then it happens.
Yes.
And so that's, and my wife is super humble that way, and she's super amazing that way. But that's what it is, and it really has blossomed because of it. And that's where the Ghostbuster car came from, because we're willing to be anywhere, and just like on my car it says, we're ready to believe you, and we are.
Yes.
We're ready to talk to you about your ghost story. If you're at Walmart and you want to tell me ghost stories, go right ahead.
Yes. Yes, I love it. I feel the same way. And I got used to it because my mom, didn't come out as a psychic until I was in college. Okay. But I remember when I was a kid, like, people were so drawn to her. Random people would come up to her places and just tell her her whole life story. And my mom was kind of a shy person. She didn't ask for that.
Right.
But people would just sit down next to her, like while we were waiting for the car at the dealership, and just start telling her all their deepest, darkest secrets. And I remember when I was a kid, when we moved here, when I was 13, and I'd be in the back with my friends, we'd all been playing in the pool. And all of a sudden I would look around, I'd realize I was the only one in the pool. And all the kids would be like sitting around my mom's, easy chair, like the cover of a highlights magazine. And they would all be asking her, like, when should I go to college? Should I break up with my boyfriend? What should I do about this? And she never had spoken a word about being a psychic. I don't think she ever even said it out loud to anybody but me and my best friends, until I had her on my Haunted Playground radio show maybe 10 years ago. Okay. So just maybe like 3 or 4 years before she passed, did she ever even talk about it out loud.
Wow. Well, I'm glad she was able to.
Yeah. With me for many, many years. But for her, I always saw it as, I think because of her age, she was born in 1933, of something that was difficult for her. It was a secret that she kept.
Yeah. I understand. Because I was born in 1965, not a good time to talk about ghosts.
Right. But what year did you start talking about it?
1969.
Okay. But then did you keep talking about it?
Yes, until about 75.
Okay.
76. And then I stopped then, and I didn't start up until 83.
Okay.
Then I went, and then Ghostbusters came out. But what's funny was I had an experience at the university I was at, in right before Ghostbusters came out. I saw a full body apparition in our theater where I was working. Wow. And I came running out screaming, just like they did at Ghostbusters. But it was funny, the two matched up so much that everyone goes, "Oh, you're just retelling the movie." I go, "Actually, I told it before the movie came out."
Yes.
They go, "Oh, that's right, you did." I go, "Yeah, that's right, I did." And so, but I saw a lady full body apparition right there. She had no feet, but she wasn't a librarian or anything, so it was a little different. But then I came out, but at that time, then Ghostbusters came out and made everything normal for me. It was the first time in my life that I actually felt normal. Yeah. That I actually felt validated. I felt here are some men that are working with ghosts, but they're not getting picked on. People are laughing at them. People are dating them. People are having fun with them.
Yes.
People are running to them at their prom. You know what I mean?
Right.
all of a
Yes.
sudden here's all these people that all of a sudden ghosts and them are cool. But then everything came out. Then then John Zaffis and all the then all the other groups,
Johnny,
and
he's such a good man. I love
he
him
is
too.
he's so amazing. And
Such a sweetheart.
the Warrens and all. I mean, all this stuff started blossoming because Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And then In Search of and all the other shows that were on back then. It all came from Ghostbusters. It really did.
Yeah.
And it
I
still
felt
does.
like
And they're still making movies of Ghostbusters. They're still doing it.
because I grew up in a very negative, active haunted house in outside of Baltimore before we moved here. And I always felt like we felt like there was nobody that understood. We didn't know who to go to. We weren't Catholic, so we didn't know to go to a priest, and we just didn't talk about it.
Right.
And when those shows started in the 90s, right, with
Right.
most haunted in Britain and the stuff on the Travel Channel. So I was, by then I was in my 20s, and it was like therapy for me. And when I started doing this talk show on the station I was at before this, I just started like finding people's emails on Facebook or on their websites and just inviting everyone to come to the show. And it became therapy for me to realize that other people had existed in the same kind of house I did. But I always think there's other people out there now that maybe aren't watching those shows, or it's not okay because of their religion or their culture, and they don't know that it's okay. And maybe they're in the same kind of house and they don't know what to do,
Right. That's why Psychics Unite. That's why Mad City Ghostbusters. That's why I'm here. That's why you're here.
Yes.
This is why we're doing this. I mean, I have to, since you brought up Most Haunted, I have to talk about Derek Acora.
Oh,
he was the medium on here. Derek was a very good friend, and he's passed now too. He was the one that actually told me, he was on my radio show, and he actually told me that I would be doing all this. He told me, Scotty, you're a stronger medium than I am. You and your spirit guide are going to do more than me and Sam. I mean, he went through this whole list of stuff. He's going to say you're going to be on TV, movies, radio, blah, blah, blah. And everything he said that day came true and still coming true. So I have to thank Derek for getting me on the path, because he really kind of pushed me forward. So
yeah,
but now that he's on the other side, he still talks to me. So we're still buddies. So
I
it's still
love
good.
that. I never got to interview him, but I interviewed David Wells, and he was wonderful, who
Right,
took over
exactly.
from Derek when Derek got his own show. I
Right.
remember when Derek had his own show. I don't remember what it was called, but I remember they would do the ding dong divination. Do you remember that?
Yes,
I
do.
Just knock on random people's doors in the English countryside and tell them about their spiritual stuff.
But see, that's funny. I created a show with Scott Grunwald. Okay, since I'm taking his spot, let's bring this full circle around. Yeah. Scott Grunwald and I created a show called Ambush Paranormal.
Oh, wow.
Where we would just go into a place and ambush it and start telling them about their ghosts and start investigating. So he's like walking to a McDonald's with all their gear. And we would call it Ambush Paranormal. One of the episodes we filmed was we got this lady's room key. It's for this guy that came and he went to bed early at a convention. We got his room key. We went into his room and we ambushed him with the paranormal. But unfortunately, he was naked in bed, and we were like, we pulled the blanket off. We went, we had to put it back. So Ambush Paranormal is so funny that it's all the same. So
that's fantastic. Yeah, Derek was the best, and
Derek was awesome.
Remember he would get this face like he was about to get possessed. And you'd see that face and you'd go, oh my God, here he goes. He's getting possessed.
It's funny because my manager now, she hates the word manager, so I won't. So Gail and my old manager, Andy, they both knew those times when spirit was coming close to me, because they could see the change in my eyes. They knew right away. It was like, okay, Scotty's going bye-bye. Here he goes. The spirit, he's talking extra with that spirit, because there he goes. And so they had to do a lot of stuff to grab me and make sure I don't fall down and stuff. And they're like, okay, Scotty's going.
That's fantastic. So awesome. Madison is Wisconsin's an interesting place, right? There's a lot of mysticism. My mom went to college in Milwaukee and did her first master's at University of Wisconsin in Madison. And my godmother, who was her college roommate, was from there. Yep. And what a fantastic, I remember going there as a kid. We lived in Chicago for a while when I was a kid,
Right.
and we spent a lot of time there. What a magic place that
It is
Wisconsin
wonderful.
is.
It is probably I say it's the most accepting town in the world. I would, I mean, I know Berkeley is pretty accepting,
Right.
but Madison is by far LGBTQI and plus, doesn't matter, black, white, Mexican, whatever you are, you're accepted here in Madison.
It's beautiful.
It's just wonderful, and everybody can go out. If you're trans, you can go out dressed. If you're, no matter what you're doing, Madison accepts you.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so, psychic mediums, we're all accepted. People talk about it all the time. That's why I said I can't get out of a gas station for 20 minutes, because everyone's talking about it now. But that's Madison. I mean, we're here.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, Milwaukee's a little different, than even here. But Milwaukee's getting better, but Madison has been always by far the best place. So if you're not accepted anywhere, no matter where you are in this country, come to Madison, Wisconsin.
I love
it.
It
Is by far, it's cold, but it's still wonderful.
Right.
So,
it's hot in the summer and cold in the winter, but.
Well, we never get too much over 90s.
Okay.
So
okay.
we don't get like California, but
I remember
we
my mom went one year for her college reunion, and the cows were fainting because it was so hot.
It was so hot. I know we get that once in a while.
Every once in a while, the cows faint. You were wonderful, my friend. Will you come back and do this with me again soon?
I would do it whenever and always. So,
where can people find you online and get to know you better?
So you can see my name there. It's Scotty Rorek. You can go to scottyrorek.com, and any one of the social media platform, it's all Scotty Rorek. So it's right there, my name, and it's just Scotty Rorek, whatever. I'm even on Dot now, those Dot cards, those you can do on your phones. It's Scotty Rorek there too. So just come find Scotty Rorek no matter where you're looking, TikTok, everywhere. So
awesome. Thank you for being here, my friend. The wonderful Scotty Rorek, everybody. Thanks to him. And thanks to KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network for making this happen every week. And of course, my wonderful engineer and producer, Emery, and my program director, Bill, who are fantastic, and so honored to be here every Friday at 3:00 Pacific time. My website is sheenametalspiritual.com. That's where you can find me, sheenametalspiritual.com, everywhere on social media at Sheena Metal. That's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and X, formerly Twitter. And you can text me if you want and say hi, 818 area code 437-0886. Until I see you next time, my friends, seek peace, live in love, lead with kindness, embrace unity, always work to raise your vibration, and not just yours, but everyone around you, and the vibration of the everything. And please know that you are love, and you are loved, and you're so loved by me. I'm Sheena. This is the Sheena Metal Experience on KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network, and I'll see you next week. Have a good one.